Hello, fellow developers. I would like to share with you today how to set up a very simple CDN platform for your addressables system in Unity. This is a very basic project. As you see, we have just a canvas over here with a UI element, an image type of element over here, and on this image element I have this load assets async script. Okay, let me show you what it does. All right, so we have two public fields, as you see, a string my asset, and also we have a reference to our UI image element. The important part is over here with this coroutine over here. As you see, we have the load my assets coroutine function over here. What it does is actually quite straightforward. I'm not going to dive into the details of how to use the addressable system, but what I do is simply I'm telling addressables that I would like to load a sprite type of image by using this keyword, or we may have different ways to load the asset or locate the asset. In this case, I'm going to just use this keyword like the label or tag. All right, so what it does is over here we create a async operation handle for this type of object, and we are simply waiting until this handle complete this loading operation for the asset, the sprite itself. So when it is done, all right, we are going to just assign the result of this async operation handle, which is the sprite object, to our UI image elements override sprite property. That's it. The triggering mechanism for this function's execution will be a keyboard key down option. All right. In other words, we are going to just hit a key on our keyboard, and in this case I have chosen the A key, and it is going to just fire up this execution over here, and we will get the result right after it is done. All right, so that's it, a quite simple thing. So you should have the addressables package installed in your system. So I have done it. So I have created my addressables group, so it comes with the default local group. As you see, it says default, but I'm going to create my own group over here with the new drop down. I will hit the packed assets, right click on it, and then I will rename it to button. Okay, so let's say we are going to simply create an addressable assets group named button. I'm going to just put some sprites into this group, and I'm going to upload them into my CDN platform, and then I'm going to just simulate a build player. All right, like a an application that you can build and install into your mobile devices, or in our case it will be a simple thing, a standalone application in Windows platform, of course. So just for simplicity and brevity, I'm going to use a standalone application here. So let's see what we need to do first. Okay, so this is the button group, so we can create as many groups as we want as part of the system. And this one is not going to load the assets from a local, location. All right. So it is set to local by default, but we are going to use a remote, position, or in this case, a server, a cloud server. So I'm going to change it to remote. So the system immediately shows me the build path for the remote type of addressable content building, and the load path also is here. So this is the paths. These are the paths that are being defined by the profile. Okay, so we have the default profile right now over here, but I would like to create my own profiles. And today I'm going to show you how to set up an account. Actually, I will pass the account part, the sign up part, but how to set up the CDN structure, or the platform in order to use it with the Addressables system. All right, so I'm going to just use two different providers, all right, or two different platforms. One will be Bunny CDN. Maybe you have seen the blog post by the game dev guru, Ruben. He created a post a couple years back and actually talked about how to set up an account and just to create a simple CDN on bunny.net. All right, I'm going to show you that part. So there could be a couple of things maybe not so clear in the post itself. So we are just going to go over the process together. And the second provider will be Amazon. So we will use Amazon Web Services and create a bit more sophisticated CDN distribution network for our sample project over there. So let me click on the manage profiles here, and the create dropdown, as you see, just lets us create profiles, all right, like the groups. So when I click on it, it creates new profile. I'm going to rename it as Bunny CDN, all right. So for each profile, we have a local and also a remote section, so we can define build and load paths for both of these options. So I'm going to use the remote part, so I'm just going to change this remote section. All right, I'm not going to do anything with the local. So instead of an editor hosted remote server, actually you can simulate something inside the editor. So Unity creates a simple server for you inside the editor, and you can use it in order to just test out the remote distribution process. All right, but we are going to use a real platform today. So I'm going to choose custom. All right, I'm not going to touch the build path. All right, it's fine, but I need to change the remote load path. So this should point out to our CDN. All right, okay. So at this point, what we need to do is just go back, all right, to our browser over here. So I have the CloudFront and S3 from Amazon over here, but at the same time I have the bunny.net, which is the Bunny CDN, in other words. So let's start with the Bunny CDN over here. What we need to do is just create a storage zone first. Okay, so the storage zone is the place where you upload your files. All right, so whatever you would like to share with your users, the DLC downloadable content, or it could be just an update you would like to share with them, whatever it is, you need to put those files, the assets, objects, whatever they are, into this zone. All right, so this zone will be tied to the pull zone. So the pull zone is actually where the CDN comes into the picture. All right, so it is the part of the platform actually where you can pull all those contents via your application. And in this case, it will be our Unity demo project with the Addressables system. So the Addressables, the system is going to just grab those assets by reaching out to the pull zone, and the pull zone is going to request those assets from the storage zone, and this is how things are going to actually work in this very simple example. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. You don't need to do anything. And by the way, You can sign up to the bunny.net for free. You have, I believe, 14 days or so for trial period, so you don't have to pay anything up front in order to test out the platform. All right, so I'm just going to use the free tier or the trial period right now just to show you how it works. So let's create a storage zone. All right, so it just requires a name for this storage zone. So of course you may have many storage zones tied to different pool zones, and it's up to you. You may have several different projects, or you may just create different zones, storage zones and pool zones for the same project for different purposes. All right, so I'm not going to dive into the details, or this is highly customizable part of the process, so I'm going to just stick to the basics. So what I'm going to create is I'm going to type in Boraz, let's say CDN demo. All right, it's okay, you can choose the standard or the edge. So the edge gives you SSD storage. It could be a bit more optimized. So there is the rate difference between these two options, but it doesn't matter in the trial period. You can choose either one of them and use them for free. All right, so I'm going to use the standard. I'm not going to change anything. By default, the system just uses my IP address and finds the closest storage region over here. So I'm close to the Falkenstein, obviously, and this is the main server I'm going to create my storage unit. All right, so you may change it to anything else. All right, this is where you're going to put all these stuffs. All right, so as you see, we have the geo replication, so it just creates or replicates the data to the other zones geographically closer to the user. So this actually reduces the latency in terms of the download times. And so you can see the total price per month, but it doesn't mean anything. So we are going to use just the free tier here. All right, so I click on the add the storage zone button, and voila, that's it. Okay, you don't have to do anything else. Everything is ready. It's very easy to use system. By the way, we are going to upload our files over here, which will be, of course, generated by using our addressable system. So we are not there yet, but hang on there. All right. So the next thing, the storage zone should be coupled with a pool zone over here. So I'm going to pool zone here, and you see we have the add pool zone option here. Just click on that. It just asks you what should be the host name for your pool zone. You need to choose something else. So this will be the the URL that we are going to use over here for the remote load pattern. All right. So use something descriptive. All right, just to make sure that you are using a very descriptive name over here, not to mistake it for something else. All right, so I'm going to type in let's say my sample project. All right, so this is going to point out to not a URL but a storage zone. So this is the beauty of the system over here. You can also just define an external URL. You may have a different storage zone in a completely different server. Maybe you're hosting the files on your own server and you don't have to use the storage zone over here, but the system already has here the storage unit for our for coupling it with the pool zone. So I'm going to use the simplest option and choose the storage zone. So whenever I click on that, you see I got the storage zones I have as part of my account. So right now I only have one storage zone. So it just points out to that storage zone. That's fine. All right. Here you can use the standard tier. You see these are the rates. With the high volume tier, it's a bit easier. So the the regions have different kind of rates, etc. Okay, it's something you may need to decide on your own depending on the project. So I'm going to just hit the add pull zone, and this is going to create the pull zone for us. Here we are. All right, that's it. Let me click on the pull zone, and this is the zone we have here right now. If you click on it, you will get the host name. So we need to just copy this part. All right, I have copied it. Come over here. I will remove these variables here all the way up to the second /, and then paste my host name here. Okay, hit the enter, and here we are. So what we need to do is you can either right click over here and set active to activate this profile, or you may just go into the Addressables group, use the drop down and choose Bunny CDN. So now the Bunny CDN is our active profile. All right. So one more thing. You see in the inspector we have this inspect top level settings, or the global settings for the Addressables asset groups. All right. So you need to click on that because you need to make a couple of changes here in order to use our CDN structure. All right. So the first thing is we need to create a catalog for the remote server. So under the content update, choose the build remote catalog. It should point out to the remote option. As you see now, it is simply stating that we have the launch pad with this host name, or the URL, of course, here. So it's pointing out to our pull zone in the Bunny CDN. That's perfect. And do we have to change anything else here? No, nothing else. That's the else. The rest of the properties or the parameters are good for our demonstration purposes. We don't have to change anything. So we need to add the assets, all right, the real things that we would like to use to this CDN system. So I have prepared 4 different sprites over here. I'm going to choose all of them and drag and drop them onto our button group. That's it. All right. So they have become an addressable type of asset. Okay. So you see it's checked, and we have an address defining the location of this particular sprite. All right. So remember, in the addressable system, there are different ways to locate or simply point out to a asset. So I'm just going to use in my script a keyword. All right. So the keyword actually corresponds to the label or the tag system inside the addressables. All right. So we can create different labels. They work like keywords, and whenever the system finds an asset with that keyword inside the asset bundle, it is just going to find it and load it for us. All right. It will be done completely in the background. So the only thing I need to define over here is a label. All right. And that string should match exactly the string I'm going to put over here into my asset property. Okay. So I'm using button just to make sure that I'm not going to make a mistake by typing a different string over here. I'm going to copy this, come over here, click the labels in one of these assets, and you may not have this label over here. So I have put that over here for testing purposes before I started the video, but let me show you how we do it. So you can remove it. So by by default you have only the default label, so you need to just hit the plus icon and then you can type in, or I can simply paste the copied value. So clicking on the save button will finalize the process. Now I have two different labels and I can choose the button label which is going to work as the keyword whenever I would like to load this asset for me. Alright, so one final thing over here, up here in the build drop down, we need to create a new build. Alright, so the default build script, this is going to create the catalog files which has the assets, their locations and every related information in that, and also the same operation creates the asset bundles, the real assets. They are going to be bundled together, and we are going to upload these generated files into our storage zone. Alright, so click the default build script. So Addressables takes care of the rest. Alright, where are these assets are located? Actually, you can just go into your assets folder in the project window, use your right click and show in Explorer, and under the server data you will see this standalone Windows 64. Of course this could change depending on the platform you are currently working on, and in my case it's a Windows 64 type of architecture. And when you double click on it, you will see the generated file. So we have a hash file, a JSON file for the catalog, alright, and also the .bundle extension. You see this is the asset bundle itself. These are the sizes, these are the dates when they were created. Alright, so we are going to upload these files. So let me go back to my Bunny CDN. So I choose the storage part, click on the storage, hit the upload button, choose all my files, hit open, and they will be uploaded. That's it. Alright, now we are good to go. The final thing before we could actually test the system is creating the player. Remember, so we are trying to simulate over here something, alright, like an application, a game built for and distributed to users. So I'm not going to use the editor because it is not the way to test out the system correctly. Alright, so you need to build your player. So I will go into the build settings over here. I will leave everything as it is. Then I will hit build and run. So I need to define a builds folder first. Alright, and select this folder. So Unity will create my player, okay, a standalone player, a small thing like this. So you see this is the same scene over here with a single image element in the center of it. Alright, so now what I need to do is just hit the A button. Alright, so remember the A button triggers the execution of this coroutine, which is going to pull the asset for us and then assign it to this UI image. So voila, you see this was a live content update inside the build player. Alright, so we already have the player, it's live. We are let's say we are playing the game, and let's say we have a button over here, and whenever the player clicks on that button, he gets the updated content or new downloadable content, whatever you would like to share with them. Okay, that's it. Alright, so this far everything looks quite familiar, right? You may say that this is nothing different than what we have done so far in Unity without the addressables. This could be done quite easily. However, the beauty is with the addressables, you can change everything, for the bundles, all right? But you don't have to build the player from scratch. So we don't have to go back over here and regenerate or recreate the player, all right? So player is something already there. Let's assume it's been downloaded by the user and it is now sitting in his or her mobile phone or tablet. So he doesn't have to download anything else. All right. What I'm going to do is just to simulate how we can update the content, all right, with an existing player. I'm going to just change the asset I would like to see to be downloaded and to be assigned to this UI image. All right, so I'm going to change it to this Timente.png. All right, so what I need to do next is just go into the build. I'm going to update a previous build. Okay, I'm not going to create another build for the addressables either. I'm just going to update the already existing build we have. All right, so click on it and you will be provided with these 4 subfolders. Inside the windows you will see the addressables underscore content underscore state.bin. all right, this is the binary file that generates our catalog and bundles. All right, if you double click on it, it is going to update that file, and it also going to update our catalog files. All right, so we didn't add or removed anything from the group. All right, we are using the same assets, therefore it was not updated by the addressables. All right, you see the date modified. When you sort the files based on the date modified column, you see the only 2 updated files are the catalog cache and the catalog JSON. All right, so what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to get back to my storage zone, hit the upload, and I'm going to upload the recently updated files. So they point out to the difference or the changes, modifications we have done to our content. So what we expect right now, of course, if I go back to here inside Unity, let me find out the builds. All right, so if I double click on my executable, so remember I haven't recreated the application, so it is the same application. We build it once, but we have just changed the assets. We have updated the assets. All right, this is the only difference from the previous version. So when I hit the A, I need to see this sprite over here instead of the first one. All right, so let me hit the A. Voila. All right, that's easy, quite easy thing to do. And also this gives you the flexibility to simply distribute your updated content to users without much of a hassle. All right, okay, so this was the part about the Bunny CDN. It's quite simple because inside the Bunny CDN the system is pretty straightforward. You need to just create a storage zone and then a pull zone, and you can simply couple them with a single click or so. Okay, it's quite easy. But in the Amazon, it's a bit complicated. All right, maybe complicated might be the wrong word. Maybe we could just say a bit sophisticated over there, and it just requires you to decide on different properties and parameters just to set up the system. All right, let me show you what do we have? All right, so this is the Amazon Web Services, and I'm going to use the storage section, the S3. All right, so this is the S3 Management Console. You know, here what it is meant by the bucket is the same thing over here. What do we have with the storage zone? Okay, it is the same thing, the same structure with a different naming convention, let's say. All right, so let's create the bucket. So we are going to upload our files to the bucket. Okay, so let's give a name to this bucket, and this will be Bora's demo game storage. Let me see if I can use underscore demo game storage. All right, it is also pointing out to the closest region in the AWS. So I don't need to change anything over here. I will leave it as it is. Also, I won't touch the object ownership part. I can leave it with the default setting, but I need to just uncheck the block all public access section. All right, just to make sure we acknowledge what we have changed over here, we need to click on the checkbox here. We don't use bucket versioning here, and the rest is all right. Okay, so I need to hit the create bucket. Looks like it doesn't allow me to use any underscore over here for the bucket name, so I will use Bora's demo. All right, make it simple and easy. All right, so this created our bucket. All right, so we are going to upload our files to this bucket. So the problem, or the actually difference from the Bunny CDN in Amazon Web Services is that the bucket or the storage zone and the pool zone or the content distribution network services, they are quite separate services. Okay, they don't have an instinct or straightforward connection between them. We need to just establish this communication between these different services. Okay, it's up to the user. It doesn't do it on its own, because you can use the S3 for different purposes, etc. Okay, so they shouldn't be always used in conjunction with each other. That's the reason. Okay, so this is the cloud front. Under the services, if you go down to networking and content delivery, this is where you're going to find the service. All right, I have already a distribution over here that I have used for testing purposes, but I'm going to create a new one. Okay, hit the create distribution. A similar process is required here. You need to just choose an origin domain. In this case, these are the other services within the AWS that you can combine with the CloudFront. So we already have an Amazon 3 bucket, so it's quite nice. You need to just click on it, so it populates most of the rest of these parameters or properties for us with the default values. But we need to change the origin access. Okay, we are not going to make the bucket public, so this creates a security issue. We need to control the access permissions so that no intruder or no unauthorized application or person could reach out to our files. All right, so here the architecture is like this. We are going to designate CloudFront as our only service or service point that could reach to our bucket. All right, so nobody else could just send a request to our bucket and try to read the data, whatever we have over there. Okay, so we are going to restrict it only to the CloudFront. So therefore I need to choose the second option. This requires me to create a control setting, access control setting. So hit the create control setting option. The defaults are quite fine for demonstration purposes. All right, we are going to use sign requests. We don't need anything else. So origin type is correct, S3. Hit the create. It is going to create a new control setting for you. But now we must update the S3 bucket policy. Okay. So this means that we need to just give the access permission to the CloudFront in the S3 itself. All right. So we set it over here. Only CloudFront should have the access, but S3 doesn't know anything about our CloudFront service yet. So we need to establish this connection. So, okay, so I'm going to just take a look at the rest. So we can use HTTP or HTTPS. That's okay. Allowed methods, everything is okay. So we need to turn off the caching. All right. Because whenever we need to change things, the caching creates a problem because it tends to use the cached version. I don't know why over here I couldn't find actually a way to override the caching with a with a weather solution. So I need to just turn it off. So caching will be disabled. The rest is okay, I believe. All right. So, okay. Let's hit the create distribution. So it says the S bucket policy needs to be updated. So we have created the distribution. So what we need to do is just hit the copy policy. It was generated for us by the CloudFront, as you see, and also has a hyperlink. Okay, when you click on it, it's going to open up the S3 management console again with the Boras demo bucket selected and under the permissions. All right, so we removed all the block for public access, but we need to control everything through the bucket policy. All right, so hit the edit button, and here just paste the policy we have copied from the CloudFront. Okay, so what this does is exactly, it just gives the right to reach out to this bucket to the CloudFront. So it just has the read-only permission. We have the identifiers here, etc. Okay, hit the save changes, and that's it. All right, so we have everything here. All right, this looks fine. Now, in the Objects tab, when you click over here, this is the part where we upload the files, but we do not have a profile dedicated to Amazon, right? We only have the Bunny CDN. So let me hit the Manage Profiles and create a new profile. So this will be our Amazon CDN. Okay. So in this case, remember, we need a URL as our log path. So we need to just go back to the CloudFront. This is the service point where we get the contents that are going to be downloaded. So we are going to use this domain name. So you can click this button to copy it and come over here, delete the default and paste your host name and hit enter. Okay, that's it. Now in the addressables group, I will choose the Amazon CDN. Now this is the active profile we are using. What we should do next is just to upload the recently generated files by the addressable system. So let's go back to our bucket, the objects tab, hit the upload over here and hit the add files. So these are the bundles and the files over here. So we have the same bundle because we haven't added or removed anything from the bundle itself. We use the same set of sprites, so it is the same, but we have a different catalog and the hash and JSON for the catalog. So what we need to do is just choose the bundle and the recent files generated for the Amazon CDN and hit open, then hit upload here. They will be put into our bucket. All right, so here they are. All right, so let's go back and remember we need to just build a new player whenever we change the profile. Okay, so it is pointing out to a completely different provider right now, so the previous player only knows the previous profile. So this is something we need to do. Just go back, build and run, choose our builds folder and hit the select folder button, and the process will be the same. What we need to see first is this asset, right, the last one. So let me hit the A key. So voila, here it is. Okay, so this makes sure that the system works with the Amazon CDN as well. So just to demonstrate something else, let me bring in a different sprite over here. I will drag and drop a different thing. So set it to sprite and hit apply. So I will drag and drop it over here. Let's say I would like to remove this sprite. Okay, so right click and remove addressables. All right, it's gone, and I will tag this recently added sprite with the button label. So now I need to update my already existing build, right? So I will double click on it. It is going to generate new files for me. And you see, since we have added and removed something from the bundle, we have a a new bundle file over here together with the hash and JSON for the catalog. All right, so how I track the generated files is I simply take a look at the date modified over here. Okay, these are the final updates, so I need to just upload them into my S3 bucket. So hit the upload button, choose the add files, choose these, the last three, all right, and hit open, hit upload. All right, everything is done. So we have a new bundle and new catalog over here. Go back to Unity. Actually, we need to just use the executable for our player. So what we expect is here now, I need to see the cross sprite whenever I hit the A button, right? Voila. So as you see, we haven't built the player for the second time. It was done just once, and then the only thing we changed was the addressable assets. Okay, the generated files, they should be updated whenever you change anything over here, and your users will get the recent updates, the content updates through your CDN distribution. Okay, so this is the simplest way to do this. All right, I hope you find it quite useful in your projects, and if you have any questions, you can share with me anytime you wish. Okay, thank you so much.